Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Maureen O'Connor from Quilter's Heaven in Northbrook, Illinois, and I am the Opinionated Quilter. Today's episode, number 147, is everything you need to know about half rectangle triangles. It's a mouthful. HRTs is easier to say. But before we get to that, I want to give you a quick update on testing the Martelli rotary cutter sitting down. I didn't care for it standing up, but oh my goodness, I loved it sitting down. I have now decided to keep that rotary cutter at home because I cut on the coffee table sitting in front of the TV, and just the first cut, it was smooth, easy, comfortable, better than my Olfa. Now you do, if you're left-handed, you do have to buy the left-handed version. I, of course, bought the right-handed version as I'm right-handed, and I think for what I'm going to use it for, worth every penny. The other little update I have was brought to my attention by one of my customers who is also a viewer, and she is a left-hander. And she noticed that last week I did not say, when I was talking about the Deb Tucker rulers, that she gives excellent left-handed directions. Many of you who've watched this channel know I've said it before, but I missed it last week. If you are a new viewer and you are a left-hander, that's one of the best features of the Deb Tucker rulers are she gives excellent directions for left-handers, which so many just say, oh, do the opposite. Well, that's not enough instruction. This gives pictures, and you can easily do it if you are a left-hander. Okay, let's get to the episode. This was started by a new shop opened here in Northern Illinois, and I looked it up online, and it was an absolutely adorable looking shop. I've never been in it, but the pictures on the website are great. The name of the shop is Warm and Cozy, and it's spelled this way because that's her last name. Her last name is Warman. And I saw a pattern that I thought looked cute, and it said, see her way of making half rectangle triangles. And I thought, okay, I'll take a look. So I bought the pattern, and I felt like I'd gone into the past. I'm going to hold this up in front of the camera, so I hope you can see it. I decided I just didn't want to go through the work of making an example. But what she has you do is make strips of fabric up here, and then you take your ruler and cut your rectangles here. So it really is not particularly easy in that you have to get your ruler placed perfectly on the strip set, and you cut two sides, and then you have to flip it around and cut the other two sides. And it just, you have to, really mark your ruler to make sure that you're cutting them correctly. And I said, I felt almost like I'd gone into the past. That's how many places showed you to do half square triangles years ago. This is Rotary Riot, and that's Judy Hopkins and Nancy Martin, and this book is from 1991. And here it is in the book. Now, these are half square triangles, but it's the same method of making a strip set and then cutting. Now, the benefit of this method is that they had you cut bias strips. So when you cut your half square triangles, the outside edges are straight of grain. In this method, you can see that all the outside edges are bias. And she even says it underlined here, all the edges are bias. That's not a good construction method for quilting. You don't want your edges on the bias. this also has a lot of waste. So I find this method not satisfactory because of the waste, it's difficult, and you have bias edges. Now, as I did research into other methods, I found several YouTube channels that showed the 2 at a time method. Let's see, I have to look at my list. One was Made Just So, and another was Made in the Shed. I'd never seen those 2 before. There were several others listed when I searched half rectangle triangles. So I'm sure those are not the only 2. But if you've ever tried to make half rectangle triangles, you know you can't lay your 2 squares on top of each other like we do for half square triangles. You have to offset it. Here's one triangle. Here's one rectangle. Here's one rectangle. And then you draw the line from this corner up to this corner and sew on either side of it. Now, the problem for me on this one is the trimming. In both of those 2 that I mentioned, they used Sharpies on their rulers, and then you have to take it off. One didn't show how you took it off. The other one took it off with nail polish remover. I don't know about you, but I don't really want to be putting Sharpie marks on my ruler and taking them off with nail polish remover. I'd be worried about removing the lines on the ruler at all. Plus, if you change size, you have to remark for another size. That's just not efficient for me. One woman was using a 6x24 ruler to cut these little things, and it just doesn't seem like a smooth way of working for me. So I guess you can all guess, again, what method I liked the best. Of course, Deb Tucker. Hers is called a split Rex ruler. I like it because it's easy. The sizings are all given. Okay, so I failed to mention the sizing up here. If I'm designing a quilt, I don't know I haven't seen a chart or learned the math to figure out for what size rectangles I need to cut to make what size half rectangle triangles. I still have trouble with that. So, if you're reading a pattern, it will give you the sizing, but if you're doing your own, I don't know how to figure out the sizing. Maybe I will be able to figure it out at some point, but I haven't as of yet. So that's a benefit of Deb Tucker's. She gives you all the sizing for all the sizes that her ruler covers, which is more than one. And very little waste. This has some waste, which I find is kind of acceptable. It's not a huge amount of waste. This was way too much waste for me. Okay, let's move the camera and I'll show you how easy the Deb Tucker Split Rex ruler is. I'm using the same size units that the Warm and Cozy pattern called for, which is 1 by 2 inch finished. So the Deb Tucker pattern tells you to cut your strip 3 inches, which I did, and then you follow the instructions to cut the pieces. So I lay it on as instructed, and then you flip it over to get the next cut. Helps if you line it up correctly. And you can cut across your strip. You do need to pay attention to if you are cutting the same direction units, or if half are one direction, half are the other direction. Just follow the instructions to have with your strips are all face up or right sides together. And then the same thing with my second color. I'm just going to lay it down, cut, and then cut, and you would cut across the strip for as many pieces as you need. Now, these pieces are slightly oversized, so the one thing you don't have to worry about is the offsetting. You do want to center these as best you can. So, and there's a picture in the instructions where you get a little tip out here, a little tip out here. Either direction, it works the same way. So you'd go to the sewing machine, sew at 1/4 inch, sew at 1/4 inch. Then you get a piece that looks like this, and then you use her ruler, follow the instructions, and you would trim, flip it around, trim, and you get a unit that looks like this. Now the one thing I want you to be able to see, and let me see, I think we need to zoom in just a little bit here. This point here does not come directly into the corner. You can see it's just a little bit bigger here. And same up here, the white is a little bit bigger up here, and the red is a little bit bigger up here. And that's how it should look. You're used to the half square triangles where the line where the two triangles meets goes directly into the corner. That doesn't happen on the rectangle half rectangle triangles. Remember when we talked last week about how you have to sew at 1/4 inch on your half square triangles because you sew at 1/4 inch, so that your line here stays in the middle? If I put my ruler on here with the 1/4 inch, the tip of this ruler hits the line directly at the corner there. So if you sew at 1/4 inch here and 1/4 inch here, this line will go directly into your corner. So don't be alarmed. Don't think your piece is wrong when you have a little bit hanging off here and a little bit hanging off here. That's the way it's supposed to be. And I'm going to put up another whiteboard just so you can see, because that piece is so tiny. I'm going to show you on the whiteboard. Okay, just to show you this point a little bit clearer, if you have a square and you go from corner to corner, this is a 90 degree here, so this is 45 degrees here and 45 degrees here. And that's what I was talking about last week about sewing at 1/4 inch, sewing at 1/4 inch, so this line still goes directly into the corner. Now you've got a rectangle. For this to be 45 and 45, this would have to go up to what would equal a square. These are not the same angles now. This one's bigger than this one. And up here, this one's bigger than this one. So to get this to be in the center of 1/4 inch, this is not divided evenly, which is what you saw on that little piece I was showing you of the 1 by 2 inch finished piece. So I just don't want you to be alarmed and then try to cut that off, and then you'd really screw up your piece. When you cut your pieces correctly, I sewed them together just like it was on the Warm and Cozy pattern, and this is her little border she made, and it's really cute. I just think the Deb Tucker way is a whole lot easier than the other methods available to you. So that's all we need to know about half rectangle triangles for now. Man, I can't get that out right. Let's get to the winner of the giveaway. The winner of various is Dale Ruth Moore 7085. DALERUTHMOORE 7085. Please email me your mailing address to quiltersheaveninc@gmail.com, and I will get that package right out to you. Now, this week's giveaway I think is a really good one. We just get so many donations that we just can't sew fast enough. And I've had this around for a while, keep saying to myself, oh, I'm going to make a Project Linus quilt. I'm going to make a Project Linus quilt. And I just haven't gotten to it. So I'm going to give it away. There's no strings attached. You don't have to make a Project Linus quilt. But if you do, that's all good too. So this is a 43-piece Kona 2.5-inch strip pack. So it's 43 pieces, so it's exactly 3 yards. This is a little bit bigger than regular, and they call this the Sunset Color Story. And then this is 2 yards of a Deborah Edwards Northcott fabric, and I did look at the name, and of course I've already forgotten it. Nature Studies. 2 yards of this. With this, it clearly came donated as something that was supposed to go together, and on the bag it says the word prayer. So I'm not sure what the person was intending to make. I don't know if it was a prayer shawl or what, but that's what we're going to call it, is prayer. So if you'd like to enter to win this, and again, no strings attached, you need to like this video, you need to comment, and you need to subscribe to my channel. And in your comment, write in the word prayer, and we'll know you're entered to win this giveaway. So I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate you all so much. Keep the comments coming, keep the questions coming, and until next time, happy sewing.